Don't you dare do this to me, rookie. Don't you dare, ABC. You give me that promo for the next episode. I swear to God! Oh, hey everyone. Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, or welcome back. This is your 15th episode review of The Rookie, Season 2. I again apologize if I'm doing some very different poses because my hair, I forgot to comb it before this. Why do I never learn? Anyway, so we're talking about The Rookie, Season 2, Episode 15. Very weird we did not get a promo after this episode. What's going on, ABC? Better not delete it. You better not delete it! I'm gonna check the internet after this. I'll check the internet after this. See what's up. I'll get my peeps on this. I don't think we have a new episode next week, but anywho. So how's everyone doing during this time of panic crisis? I'm thankful that The Rookie still aired a new episode during this uncertain time period. Anywho, enough gloom and despair. Let's talk about The Rookie. Overall base thoughts on this episode. I enjoyed it. Not my usual hype mode because I feel like this was an okay episode. This relied a little bit too heavy on the guest stars, which usually works in beneficial of The Rookie. I sadly, this is probably like the least. I think this is going to be probably the least my least favorite comment I'm going to say about the show. I didn't like Seth Green that much. And this isn't a joke because I watched Family Guy and then they made a whole joke about Seth Green and the whole Family Guy Star Wars, like the last one where they did Return of the Jedi. I'm not trying to be a dick. I like Seth Green as an actor. I don't know. I didn't really exactly like him in this. I'm being honest. Like, sure, he's Seth Greeny. He's, being whimsical. He's funny at moments. I think Jeremy Davis did a better job in this, which is the other guest star we had, which I recognize him from Lost, and he was in the Elseworlds crossover on the Arrowverse a couple of years ago. But Seth Green, I don't know, man. Like I love the guy. He does a great Chris Griffin. He does some pretty funny work. For me personally, I didn't think he belonged here. I mean, if you would have brought me back Alan Tudyk, I'm like, oh god, yes, let's get him back again. But I thought it was like, okay, Seth Green being here is cool. I mean, actually my first time seeing Seth Green before wasn't in Family Guy, but it was in Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed. Anyone remember that movie? Yeah, that was a long time ago. I think that was one of the first movies I've seen in theaters. So it stood out a lot in my mind, and I think he was great in that. But I feel like in this case, I'm not trying to compare him to a role he did 16 years ago to now. I'm not trying to make that real big comparison, but I don't know. It's just he didn't really stand out as something like I was really excited about. I feel like the other storyline, which usually the Nolan storyline is usually the more stand out of the bunch, but I feel like the other storylines we got, which is a lot this week, stood out better than this one, which is a definite first, because usually it's always the Nolan stuff that tends to get me the more talkative about, but I don't know, man. I mean, let's go for the butchered recap. Let's break this down. So, I believe we got a little bit of a serious start up to the episode. Apparently there's a robbery happening in a bodega or convenience store nearby. And while they do see presumably a robbery in motion, turns out to be a movie set. Turns out they're filming a student film project that's being shot that didn't have a permit. So Nolan and Harper have a immediate allowance to arrest them. And I swear to God, I texted Michael, who was on the PodX cast a while back, about this. There was a beaver in the episode. I'm like, Jesus Christ. You give the man a movie with a beaver, and I'm talking about Birds of Prey, and now he's like, oh, beaver's got to be in everything now. I mean, anyway, so we cut to the station, where I believe Wes is giving Nolan a recap of how his last night's events went out, and he should have been with him. But things aren't exactly up for Nolan. He gets a call from the credit score from his credit card company that said there was from the Henry's University, his son, that his last tuition payment was declined because there was insufficient funds. So Nolan's a bit on the confusion on it, but he has to work for his shift. So he'll handle it later. Meanwhile, Diaz and Gray are kind of in a more serious mode than usual. They're kind of like, hey, by the way, after roll call, we heading out. So I'm like, wait, what's going on here? What's going on? What's going on here? What's going on? Is there something you're not telling me? Anyway, so we cut to the roll call. Gray's heading out of town, so he's leaving Wes to do all of his to-do list, which is making sure all the officers are up to code with their with stuff that they should be following. So Wes is on grunt duty pretty much, while he and Diaz are heading out of town for something that we're not made aware of yet. But then he talks to Nolan privately about that, hey, we just got to alert on your credit score. It's not really doing so hot, so you got to go check it out. So Nolan is realizing something's up, because between the tuition payment being declined and also the his credit score being so low, it's too convenient. It's too coincidental to see that, okay, something else is happening here. So he goes off there. I'm gonna get through that storyline quickly, because again, no offense to Seth Green. I think he's a great actor. I think he does phenomenal voiceover work. He didn't really stand out much in this episode to me. He didn't. And usually the guest stars really make a lasting impact. Hashtag bring back Alan Tudyk when this whole coronavirus thing passed. Blame me for the idea, ABC. Anyway, so Nolan checks online. His credit score is in the red. Apparently there was a lot of massive withdrawals, a lot of credit card use. He has 7 credit cards, even though he has the 1. So they go to Jeremy Davis, who works in fraud. And this guy is very quirky. God, I love Jeremy Davis. Like, he was great on Law. He knows how to play a very sort of different, like, nothing normal. I don't think he ever played a normal character in any shows I've seen him. In Laws, he's very different. In Elseworlds, he was very, I forgot what he did in Elseworlds. I know he was the villain, but I forgot how to describe his performance. And this one just definitely bucked the norm for that. And yeah, he did so he's a little bit more like, how do I say this nicely? I don't think he's exactly he doesn't know the real social way of communication. He's more of like his own type of guy, so to speak. So he manages to track all the credit card purchases. Nolan is obviously denying all of them. It's pretty weird stuff. Like, who would spend $15,000 on tennis shoes? I mean, I would spend $15,000 on a lot of things, but not tennis shoes. That is not worth it. Anyway, however, they look through the records and they find out that a more recent transaction was a watch that apparently has GPS. So they track the GPS. They find him. They give chase. They find him in his house. Well, his house with under a freaking inflatable pool of all places. They arrest him. They start packing everything up. Although he's denying, like, "Hey man, I'm innocent here." Like, but it's like this guy. He's playing fast and loose here. They have Wes do the paperwork to get all his house locked up for evidence, so they can eventually start liquidating that to start repent. And another important thing to note here is that Nolan was told that it takes 3 to 5 years to get any sort of money back on these sort of cases. So it's not entirely looking so good for Nolan. So I think from there they lock him up. Although he's like, "Hey man, I'm gonna get out on bail." So it's like, can't really hold me here forever. They talk to Jeremy Davis. He does confirm that, by the way, the total value of all the objects we found in the house so far, it's only retailing $700,000. Your boy stole $2 million. So there's some missing money here. So they assume that it's been transferred to some offshore accounts in case he does have to, leave the country to get away from this. So they have to find this external backup drive, which presumably all thieves have. And no doubt they did. They found it because they went back to the house to try and find it. They found nothing. Seth Green shows up. And sorry, I don't know their names. I really don't know. It's fine. He wants to use the bathroom for whatever reason. Goes into the bathroom. Nolan smartly places his body cam in the bathroom, and they find him trying to take the flash drive from the toilet paper of all places. Oh, value commodity nowadays with the whole scare and everything. So they let him go with the drive. So they're like, okay, case closed. He's free to go. But they know something fishy is going on because there's this weird black SUV. Why do all criminals have to get black SUVs? Like, can't you just get a Toyota van or something, like a Honda Prius or something? Something less suspicious than like a black SUV. Come on. Anyway, so he skirmishes off, wanting to take the back route. Harper takes note of the plates. Then later on, I believe, so they head back to Jeremy Davis with the drive, and he's happy to report that, hey, with this, you can get your money back now in 15 months. So he still gotta wait a year until we get to season 4. But no one's not happy considering the fact that he's worked so hard for that money and it's all gone now, and Henry might not be able to continue going to college, so it's not really looking so good for Nolan. And then I believe from there I think from there something was up. They found out that the guy in the SUV is another person that Seth Green took his identity to get more money, and this guy's kind of a bit of a psychopath, so it's convenient how he managed to screw off a cop and a psychopath. So they give chase. They find him already being taken by the goons. They give chase. They eventually corner them near a train station yard. They presuming, okay, we got them, it's over. No, this guy got his hand shot. Oh, ow, that hurts. So they split up trying to find them. Harper manages to take out 2 of the goons. Nolan finds, conveniently enough, the guy holding Seth Green hostage. Nolan takes him down pretty easily, and they take Seth Green to the hospital. He's all fine. As a gesture of goodwill to Nolan, he tells him, "Hey, listen, go to my jacket. There's a key to a safe full of old vintage comic books that I spend with your son's college money. So if you sell that right away, you can get your money back and you'll be able to let your kid go to school." So it's kind of ironic that this had to end like this, because still a bit shady. If you're still a criminal, I guess you're nice. I don't know. I really don't know. So that kind of ends it there. Again, for once in the history of the show, I was not entirely... The Nolan storyline was not standout. It's a bit weird. It's weird for me to say. It's a bit weird. I understand, with any TV show that keeps going on and on and on, you're eventually going to get to those storylines where okay, not every storyline's going to hit. I just did not expect it. I still enjoyed it. But anyway, let's go back to the other ones. So for Wes's sake, during his to-do list, he fails at being the commander. He fails. He cannot give orders or ask questions or ask for demands for crap, because no one's taking him serious at all. But before he gets called over to the Nolan storyline quickly, he tries to move this file cabinet a little bit because it wasn't up to code. He has Smithers, whoever it is, the older police cop there that they keep mentioning, and I keep forgetting his name. To move it, they discovered there was this case file that was never assigned to anyone that was probably there for over a year. So he decides to investigate it further, and he manages to get in contact with the guy, trying to get some new evidence, which he does found because there was apparently a partial fingerprint found on the graffiti. But the guy who he calls in to kind of give some new testimony, to kind of get some new light on the case, is not entirely so happy with the information he's received. And he's like, "Yo, dude, just drop it. Just drop it. It's over. I got paid. We all good, man. You need to move on." But Wes, being stubborn, he doesn't, and he continues to investigate. He finds out the guy with the partial fingerprint actually matches a deceased man that was found the day after the graffiti incident that also was a block away from this guy's house. So he brings the guy in once again for questioning. He locks him away in the room before interrogation begins, and he reveals that he killed him. Yeah. I wish all murders were solved like that, man. Come on. That was probably the easiest murder ever solved. He reports to Gray later on. Gray's a bit hard on him because of some other things that happened, but and also he didn't finish his to-do list. But he does congratulate Wes for completing his first homicide, cold case homicide, by himself. So that was quick and easy thing. The Chen and Bradford thing. Oh, again, I keep forgetting that Bradford had a girlfriend. Because I keep mentioning throughout the past weeks, maybe Bradford and Chen could still be a thing. They could still happen. But no. Bradford still is dating Chen's friend. They're still very much together, and they're taking the next big step in the relationship by him meeting her dad, who was a cop. So Chen's giving him the lowdown on what to expect, how to be, because when you're meeting your girlfriend's father or parents for the first time, it's a bit of a tricky task to figure out, since it's a little bit difficult because you want to impress them, but you don't want them to be in denial of you, because you still want to date their daughter or son or whatever, whatever permutation of like meeting the other parents in relationships go. I never figured it out because I've never been in one. But anyway, I think from there we get to So they're on their patrol. Bradford's trying to get it psyched out for tonight. That's when he's having dinner with the pops. But then Chang gets a call from from Bradford's girlfriend, which I'm very much blanking on the name, and turns out the dad got robbed. He got a car robbery. His car was broken into, so they personally handle it. Not a very good, strong interaction. Not a strong first start. In fact, he was a cop in a smaller town, so he assumes Bradford should know things better. He should be able to do things quicker since he's in the city, but not very much impressed. So he decides to tag along with them to try and help them out. They manage to find a guy pretty quickly, and Chen takes down one of the guys because he had backup, and actually the dad takes down the thief. So Bradford didn't really do much. And then while they're handling things, while Chen is off trying to get the briefcase, squared away quickly so that he can get it back and head back to his, I'm presuming, hotel or somewhere. Bradford and him have a one-on-one saying, "Hey, listen, man. I know you're probably a great cop. You're a good egg. You're strong, but you're just too committed to this job to be with my girl. It's better you just break up with her now because you're not going to be dependable when push comes to shove." So it's a big concern to him. We come back to later. They drop him off back in his car. They continue their conversation, and it's like it's not because of Bradford. There's nothing wrong with Bradford. It's because the issue is that his daughter, Bradford's girlfriend, could potentially have Huntington's disease, which is a mental I think it's a mental disease that will eventually. I don't know what it is. Like, I keep hearing it. I have some medical friends, but I should have called them before I did this episode, so I knew what the hell I was talking about. But it's eventually going to cause to the point where it's like they need assistance, they need people watching over them, and he looks at Bradford like, you just care about way too much about your job to even, think about taking care of her, to be honest with you. And so Bradford takes it kind of hard. He tells Chen about it. They talk to her. She's not happy because, like, this is my decision. This is my life. You guys don't get to determine my life. And she storms off. I think they do something else, but I forget. But Bradford gets to talk to her later. It's like, hey, listen. She apologizes to him about her overreaction, but she explains that she doesn't want to get tested because she doesn't want that to dictate her life. She wants to live her life to the fullest with her job. And Bradford's cool with it, so they kiss and they make up. They're fine. I think personally, even though it didn't really get much attention, the best storyline of the episode was the Gray and Diaz storyline, because we get a little bit more backstory to them. Because like Gray and Diaz have been great so far, but they've been in very short bursts. Like Diaz is always usually dealing with her boyfriend Wesley's matters. With his recent, injuries earlier this season and his traumatic stress post that. So that's all they've been really doing. They've been doing other things, supporting other people, but we really get much more of their backstory. We get a little bit more insight on them. So they're heading over for a parole hearing at a more faraway Californian jail because they want to testify against a inmate who's about to potentially get early release because this guy... I think from what I was aware, like it was a head-on collision with, I believe it was Diaz's training officer, but I might not be. No, it's not. But it was someone close to Diaz on her first day on the job, and it was also Gray's partner when he was still when he wasn't commander, he was still like a sergeant, or he was still a TO, I believe, or he was still not. He wasn't a commander yet. He wasn't the commander yet. Well, he wasn't in charge yet. That's what I'm trying to say. This was Diaz's first, like literally her first day as being a rookie, and she witnessed a police officer die right in front of her. So it's left some traumatic marks on them, both in Diaz being that's what her first day will always be cemented as, and Gray losing his partner, losing his best friend at the time. So they have a pretty emotional ride back up there, but there's a point where Diaz tells him, hey, listen, I know you think he's been sober for months, but the day he died, he still had traces of alcohol in the system, so there was something more at play here. That he probably like relapsed or so because he had some problems, with his I believe his drinking addiction. So Gray doesn't take the news really well, but they get to the prison. They see the inmate's family, so he's like, oh no, oh no, it's like there's more to play here. Because Gray, he's a family man. He understands the importance of being a dad, but he also knows the imperative of being a cop and being respectful and doing the right thing. So at the hearing, Diaz flat out tells the board, no, do not give this guy early release. He hasn't earned it yet. And Gray was about to lay lay waste on this guy, but he's like, listen, I think if he does get a second chance, you need to work and earn that you work that you earn that second chance, and teach your son that, hey, there's going to be consequences in life. You're going to do some stupid shit, and you're going to have to pay for them, and you have to teach that to your child because it's imperative considering the fact that you took a life, and both sides are at fault because like one guy was drunk, presumably, and the other guy was hooked on cocaine or drugs or something. I forgot what they said. But eventually he got denied parole, and it's bittersweet considering the fact the guy, I don't know, we only saw him for like a fraction of like 3 minutes, but you kind of see he's trying, but he's not really. I don't know. I didn't really get a good vibe off him, but I do feel sorry for his son that his son isn't gonna spend time with his dad again. He's not gonna. Well, at least at home. I'm pretty whatever. You know what I mean. I'm really tired, guys. It's well past midnight for me. But that storyline did stand out to me considering the fact that we got to see more of Diaz's upbringing, being a police officer. It wasn't as smooth as Nolan's was, so it was a bit of a good comparison to see that not every rookie's first day is going to be great, and that kind of like set her off and like where she is now in her career. And Gray, we got to know a little bit more about him. That Gray is not just a stuck-up, bullheaded commander, but he also had feelings. This was, I think, the most emotion I've seen of him in the whole series so far, and I think they really did a good job selling that storyline. I really wish that storyline got more coverage, in my opinion, personally. But maybe we'll see more of that in the near future. Who knows? I think that's a wrap on this episode. So, it's kind of weird because I did the last Katie Clean episode review recently, and I kind of was a little bit lukewarm on that as well. I'm not saying this was lukewarm. I still think this was a good episode. I just felt like this was, at least the main storyline didn't exactly do it for me, but the other storylines like made up for it. It's weird. It's weird to say that. I think I may have said that earlier in the season, but I could be wrong because remember, guys, the more we keep going, the more I forget. But yeah, so. But anyway, still good episode, solid episode. It was it was a good episode. That's all I can ask for. And it's still the rookie. I'm still laughing. I'm still like I remember when the hand sizing scene. I said, "Holy shit!" I wish I recorded that, but I'm not doing reacts. I am not doing that at all. But anyway, I think that's gonna do it for me, guys. So overall, 1.5 thumbs up. About that. 1.5 thumbs up. That's fine. This seems like the new thing. I did that for Katie Clean. It's like I should start doing like the Miyamoto thing, like the. Anyway, yeah. So that's gonna do it for me, guys. If you're unaware, this was What's on the Tube from ActionX. If you want to see what is coming up overall, What's on the Tube, we normally do Nancy Drew episode reviews, but we're on a break because of, well, barring anything happening with COVID, with the production of Nancy Drew, we should be back on April 7th, so hopefully that will be fine. So we still have a couple more weeks to go before that's back, but we usually do them on Thursday, after a new episode comes out on Wednesday on the CW. We also do Katie Clean chapter reviews, which comes out every Saturday, barring delays, after its new broadcast on Thursday nights on the CW. And the Rookie, we do new episode reviews every Monday after a new broadcast on Sundays on ABC. We it's kind of weird we didn't get a promo for the next episode, but I knew going into it, like, okay, we're not going to get another episode next week. We come back on April 2nd. Or, no, we come back in April. The first Sunday in April, the show's back. So, it's kind of weird they didn't show a promo for it yet. I have to do some research on why they didn't. I would look it up right now, but my phone's dead, so. Because why not? But yeah, so it'll be a while. In terms of one-offs, because with Nancy Drew still on break, Rookie's going off for, I think, a week. About a week, yeah. It's going to be a little bit of empty in the What's in the Tube time slot. So I think I said this in the Katie Clean chapter review, but if you want to know what's coming up, in terms of the one-offs. I'm nearly finished with Game of Thrones season 6, so I'm gonna do like an up-to-date like what are my thoughts so far before going into the 7th and then the controversial 8th season. I have no ET on that. I am currently about to begin the last 4 episodes of season 6, which hopefully I'll start tomorrow. But no guarantees because I have a lot of other stuff to talk about. I'll not talk about. I have a lot of other stuff to see because I see Westworld, Walking Dead, Batwoman, Supergirl. I have a lot of stuff to watch. Tuesday I'm a little bit freer, so maybe I'll do something. But who knows? Who really knows? It depends on availability and such. I'm also doing one for My Hero Academia Season 4, Part 2. So all the arcs from Overhaul onward. So Remedial Course, Cultural Festival, and the brief bits of whatever the Pro Hero arc's going to be in the last 2 episodes. I'll be covering those a little bit. I don't know when that's coming out, but that's coming out very soon. I am watching a lot of other shows, so I might have to start doing more one-offs, considering the fact that with COVID delaying a lot of productions, Nancy Drew is probably going to be the most effective one, and also The Rookie, hopefully. So we'll see how that turns out. I'll keep you guys updated on Twitter if anything happens. That once I figure out, you'll know. I'll communicate the information there, and I think that's going to do it. So again, if you're wondering, this was What's on the Tube from ActionX. If you want to see more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please ring the bell for notifications when we have a new episode review live. Like, favorite, share if you please. Follow us on all the social media feeds on Twitter and Twitch.tv. And I'll see you guys. I'll see you, Rookie Nation, in a couple weeks, hopefully. I will really hate this COVID if it delays the Rookie any further. Peace out, guys.